Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Shut Up and Read. Today I'm back with another TBR video for the month of March and April. For those who haven't watched my January/February TBR, I basically just mentioned that for this year, or moving forward, I'll be doing bi-monthly TBRs, so let's just get right to it. So honestly, doing this bi-monthly TBR thing is such a good idea for me because I pretty much finished all the books that I wanted to finish for the past 2 months, with the exception of one book, and I will talk about that in a hot second. But everything else though, I actually did a pretty good job with all the books. Starting off with my reading challenges that I mentioned, so basically every 2 months for my TBR videos, I want to include a series, a 500 plus book, as well as 3 Edelweiss/NetGalley books because they're backlisted and I just have a lot of catch up to do. So for the series that I want to pick up for the next 2 months, I want to pick up The Raven Cycle. Honestly, I just know that it's about 4 boys. I don't really know too much about it, but a lot of people seem to really love it. I read some of her previous books in the past, specifically the Shivers series, and loved it so much. So I have pretty high hopes for this one. I'm also debating about doing a dedicated reading vlog for this series, so be on the lookout for that if that's something you're interested in. So I know I had just mentioned the fact that I only have one rollover. Well, scratch that because I forgot about another one, and that is a 500 plus page book, and that is Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This one I was supposed to pick up for the past 2 months, but unfortunately I didn't get to pick it up. But to be fair though, I did read Game of Thrones and that was like 800 pages, so I technically did read a 500 plus page book regardless, but it just wasn't this particular one. But this one just came out and I am psyched for it because now I can kind of talk about it and read about it with everyone else in the world, which I'm really excited for. Then for my Edelweiss/NetGalley books, I decided to do a TBR jar here. And honestly, I have no idea what some of these books are. Some of these are backlisted. I don't think they're beyond 2018. I think 2018 was, I have some books from 2015 actually on there, so they're very old I think. But for the sake of this little cup here, I decided just to do the ones from 2019 and 2018. And so some of these books I don't really remember what they're about, so I'm just going to read off the summary, but I'm going to pick 3 randomly and hopefully I get to read them sometime in the next 2 months. So the first one is The Shortest Way Home by Miriam Parker. So I'm just going to read off the Goodreads really quickly in terms of what the summary is about. It says, in her debut novel, crackling with humor, heart, and unforgettable cast of characters, Miriam Parker follows one woman's journey from Iowa to New York City to California wine country to figure out what being true to oneself really means. So it seems to be a very heartwarming novel, and I do remember seeing this book back during Book Expo. So anyway, I'm pretty excited for it. We'll see how this one goes. Alright, so picking the next book, let's see what there is. It says Smothered by Autumn Chickless. We'll see how that goes. So this one is about a humorous debut crossover young adult novel about what happens when entering the real world means moving back in with your mother, inspired by actress and celebrity Autumn Chickless' real life. So that seems like it'll be a fun read. We'll see how this goes. This one came out back in August, so anyways, this will be the second book that I'm aiming to pick up from my NetGalley/Edelweiss picks. Okay, so then the third and final book that I hope to pick up from that pile, or from this pile, is The Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. So I believe I actually have a physical copy, but I'm just going to read it really quickly in terms of what this book is about. When her 17th summer solstice arrives, Brianna desires only 2 things: to master her passion and to be chosen by a patron. Growing up in the southern kingdom of Valinia at the renowned Magnalia House should have prepared her for such a life. While some are born with an innate talent for one of the 5 passions, art, music, dramatics, wit, and knowledge, Brianna struggled to find hers until she belatedly chose to study knowledge. However, despite all of her preparations, Brianna's greatest fear comes true. The solstice does not go according to plan and she is left without a patron. Months later, her life takes an unexpected turn when a disgraced lord offers her patronage. Suspicious of his intent with no other choices, she accepts. But there is so much more to his story, and Brianna soon discovers that he has sought her out for his own vengeful gain. For there is a dangerous plot being planned to overthrow the king of Mavana, the arch-rival kingdom of Valinia, and restore the rightful queen and her magic to the northern throne. And others are involved, some closer to Brianna than she realizes. With war brewing between the 2 lands, Brianna must choose whose side she will remain loyal to, passion or blood, because the queen is destined to rise and lead the battle to reclaim the crown. The ultimate decision Brina must determine is who will be that queen. Okay, so I am actually really happy about this third choice because this is one that I really want to read anyway. So, I mean, these are all books I had requested or had gotten a copy of from various reasons. But this one though has definitely now piqued my interest again now that I am rereading the summary. So I'm actually really excited for this third one. Okay, so moving on to the other books I want to pick up for March and April. The first one is for a book club, and that is Game of Thrones Clash of Kings. I think that's what it's called. I don't have it with me right now because for whatever reason, I haven't gotten it yet. I'm debating about getting the hardcover version instead because I realized that the paperback is like a Bible. Like the pages are so thin and it's so hard to read and it just feels like it's forever. So I'm debating about picking the hardcover, but we'll see how that goes. But this one will be for the Catch Up Book Club. I will put their Twitter down below in case you want to join us. Basically, you read one of the Game of Thrones book every 2 months. So technically there's what, 5 out? So it should take 10 months essentially for us to finish the entire series, or what we have right now. And I believe that the live show should technically be sometime end of April / early May. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if the detail has come out yet, but this is the next book that I want to pick up. The next book that I want to pick up is for another book club, and that one's from Instagram, and that one is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I am so excited for this book. I just know that this is a first in a series. There's supposed to be 4 books, I believe, and this is the first one. I believe the second book comes out in November. I might be wrong there, but I'm really excited for it. Everything that I've heard in terms of what people have thought about this book has been really positive, so I'm really excited for it. So I don't really know too much in terms of what this book is about, other than the fact that it's a sci-fi. It's about this girl who wants to go to flight school. Her dream is to become a pilot, but then her dad, I believe, did something way back when, and no one really trusts her now, and that's kind of the gist of where the plot is. Other than that, I heard it's really complex but really, really good, so I'm really excited for this one. The next one I want to pick up is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. This one I've heard amazing things about. It's set in 1800s, it's in Paris, and it's supposed to be this heist, and it's like dazzling and captivating, and it's supposed to be a really, really intriguing story, so I am so pumped for this one. The next few books that I want to pick up are from publishers or authors. They're books for me to read and review, so I definitely want to get on with that as soon as possible. The first one is The 7th or 8th Deaths of Stella Fortuna by Juliet Grams. So this is supposed to be a quintessential American immigrant story. So this book follows a woman called Stella Fortuna, obviously. She's from a little rugged village in Italy, and then during World War II or after World War II, she and her family emigrates to America for a new life. I also believe that this is actually told in 2 timelines. So one is back during the day, like during the World War II era, and one is told in present day when they're talking about the stories of the now elderly Stella Fortuna. So I'm really excited for this book. I've heard pretty good things about it, and this sounds like a very rich novel, so I'm really excited for it. And this one comes out in May 2019. The next book that I want to pick up is Romanov by Nadine Brandt. I am so psyched for this book. It's supposed to be like an inspired or retelling of Anastasia, and I am pumped for that. It's also supposed to be magic involved, and Anastasia, magic, who can say no to that? And this one comes out on May 7th. The next book that I want to pick up is Stronger Than a Bronze Dragon by Mary Fan. This book, there are 2 reasons really why I'm so excited for this one. One is literally about Chinese warrior girls. I mean, how awesome is that? So diversity, obviously. And second of all, it's supposed to be mechanical dragons. That sounds amazing already. And this one comes out on June 11th. The next book that I want to pick up is actually for a blog tour, and that is Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. So obviously when I was asked to be on this blog tour, I was really excited for it because I've literally just heard amazing things about this book. It's about these 3 people. One is a girl who can speak to gods, one is a prince, and the third one is a boy with a monstrous secret or power, and I am psyched for it. I've heard amazing things, like I said, and honestly, I'm just really excited to be part of this blog tour, so definitely can't wait to read this book. So the next batch of books that I want to read are my backlisted books. So my earlier mention about a rollover, and one of them is a rollover from a backlisted pile, and I decided that moving forward, for backlisted books, if it's rollover once, that's it. I mean, I can only roll over once and then I have to unhaul it, because some of these books I've had for many years now, and honestly my reading tastes have changed, and if I just don't feel a need to read it, or if I just don't have time to read it because of all these other amazing books coming out, I might as well just unhaul it and donate it to someone who will actually enjoy it a lot more than I can. So that being said, the first book that I need to pick up, and it's a rollover, is Set and Free the Skies by Alex George. So this book follows 2 young boys who end up meeting during a summer job after this tragedy. I don't know if it's like separate tragedies or a shared tragedy, I have no idea, but I'm pretty excited for it. And I mean, like I said, I'm excited for it when I'm picking this up, but things change sometimes, guys, and I just have other priorities, so if I don't read this within the next 2 months, then I am going to unhaul this book. Then the next 3 books on my backlisted books are ones I received from a publisher. I want to say 3+ years now. The first one is Taken by Rosa May Hayes. The second one is Connor's Brain by Malcolm Rose. And the third one is A Brightness Out of the Blue by Jill Atkins. These are all very indie books, but I have really high hopes for these regardless because they sound really promising. Like this book, for example, follows a girl called Kelly where 4 years ago her father disappeared and apparently he took his own life, but then one day she thinks she sees him again. And then all these painful memories surface. She decides to confide her best friend, and some things like strange start to lurk in the town. They're wondering who is following them, like what are the secrets, like who can they trust. So this book itself sounds really fascinating. It's also a very quick read, I think, so we'll see how this one goes. And then this book just sounds really intense. It's about this guy called Connor, obviously. He has a second life because his first life, something with his virus, like something happened, and basically he died and his brain is stripped of all like memory, language, and sense of time. And now this new Connor can't remember anyone, can't remember anything, but other people can, and there are some people who want to hurt him because apparently his first life has a dark past. So I mean, these books sound really, really riveting, so I'm really excited for it. And then this one is supposed to be a modern day fairy tale with like a twist in the tale, and I am up for fairy tales with some sort of plot twist. So I mean, these 3 just sound really interesting, so we'll see how these goes. Then the last 2 and final books I want to pick up are for my Read Harder challenge. The first one that I want to pick up is My Plain Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is supposed to fulfill the humorous book, so I'm really excited for this book because I absolutely love the first one, My Lady Jane, and that one was so much fun to read. I absolutely had a laugh and a blast while reading that book, so I have pretty high hopes for this one. This one seems to follow Jane Eyre. It's supposed to also include the author Charlotte Bronte and a supernatural investigator Alexander Blackwood, where they embark on this most epic ghost hunt on this side of Wuthering Heights. So pretty excited for this one. And the last and final book that I want to pick up is Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hesse. This will fill a cozy mystery challenge. So this book is set in World War II in Amsterdam. It follows a girl called Hanique who basically just goes about her normal life. She finds and delivers these goods to her clients, and then one day one of her clients comes up to her with some sort of plea saying that the Jewish woman that she was hiding in the secret room has vanished without a trace. And at first she didn't want to have anything to do with it, but she's inexplicably drawn into it, and I'm just so excited for this book. This book sounds amazing, and I am down for a cozy mystery. So that's it. These are all the books I'm aiming to pick up for the month of March and April. It's a pretty big goal, like it was for the other one, but I think I can do it because I mean 2 months, these books, I mean I think there's what, like 15 books, might be completely wrong there, I did not count them. Within the span of 2 months I can definitely get them done. It's just a matter of making sure I prioritize them as well as reading all the other books I'm trying to read when they come up, etc. So anyways, let me know down below if you have read any of the books I want to pick up. If there are books on here that you want to read but haven't read yet, let me know down below. If you have read them, what did you think about them? Let me know down below. No spoilers though. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!